Hello and good evening. Welcome to our little corner of the internet where we talk about fountain pens, inks, journals, and journaling, and just about everything and anything that's going to keep you inspired. That's the goal. And I should mention, this is a no gatekeeper zone, if you will. So no judgments here on how you hold your pen, how you write, which pens you use, how much you spent for them. We're just going to celebrate you and support you through it all. This is about keeping you inspired, journaling, feeling good and excited about your latest fountain pen purchase. So that's it in a nutshell, guys. I see many familiar faces here this evening, which always brings a smile and a warm feeling right here when I see all the support and all the lovely people here. Thanks for all the likes. You guys liked even before I came on the air. I love that. Thank you. It always helps with the algorithm, so that's huge. I see Ali J's here, Lincoln, William Catalano, who I had some great conversations with on Instagram earlier today. So very cool thing. Power of Hydrogen. I don't know who Power of Hydrogen is. New face. Love to see it. Welcome to the channel. Debbie's here. Hello, Debbie. Eric, the mighty Eric. John Manuel, who's known me forever. So see Terry's here. Great people. So welcome one and all to this amazing show. It's so fun. I just barely made it to air on time. Had to get my daughter ready for bed. Had to set up real quickly, and then before I knew it, it was 8 o'clock. But I do try to be punctual. I hope you guys appreciate it. So I'm noticing a trend. There seems to be a trend of trolls coming into my comment section on Mondays into Tuesday. And I feel like they want me to talk about them on the live show. So I might be doing a bit of that. I try not to shine too much light at them, try not to give them too much energy to feed on, but occasionally it's almost like turning a negative into a positive, because sometimes the trolls give you good ideas or they give you insights. So I want to cover some of that this evening. Our main topic is value. We touch on this quite a bit on this channel. I do joke and say that whether or not a pen is worth it, what is the value? It's whatever I need it to be to justify my next pen purchase. And that is a rationalization, and yeah, we do use that sometimes. But I think tonight we're talking about it in relation to Grail pens. And the idea of like one incredible Grail pen or 30 TWSBIs, for instance. How do you weigh that? So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about something specific, and that is the value proposition of the Magna Carta Mag 600. Very specifically. And this was inspired by a troll. So, thank you, troll. I forgot who you were. But it was an interesting point that came out of it. They were saying, well, we'll get into it. We're going to push that off. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. The other thing I want to mention is that Brendan Schmidt of Atlas Stationers, a friend of the channel's and a personal friend of mine, is running in the Chicago Marathon, raising money for animals. And I put the link to his fundraiser in the description. So if you'd like to support the mighty Brendan Schmidt, then please do. I'd appreciate it. I'm sure he would too. It's a great cause. He's a great guy. I told him I'd pay him to stay home, but he wasn't having it. He's determined to hurt himself and run 26 miles. But we do love him, and I know he's going to do great. It wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't finish in the top 10. Lovely guy. So, yes, what else are we going to do tonight? Well, I do want to mention what our next video is. I'm going to do it in conjunction with my pen check. So which pen am I using? I'm using this one. This is a Scrivener pen. And I've been mentioning these on the channel quite a bit because I've been using them quite a bit, and it's sort of a surprise. Scrivener sent me 3 pens. They sent me this one, they sent me a red one, and they sent me a gold one that is incredibly gold. It's very over the top, but I quite like it. This one is probably the most business oriented. Got a nice snap cap. Very beautiful in its styling. You can post it if you like. It's long enough not to. Just a very nice, well-made pen. Well, I've been using these at the office quite a bit because it just fits in with the whole scene. I work at a bank. It's seamless there. This is also this week's video, is Scrivener. Are they worth the internet hype? So this week's video on Thursday is Scrivener pens, internet hype, or are they good? And we will come to a determination. It's a really good video. I'm really excited about it. That's Thursday at noon Eastern Time. So check it out. I have to recognize the mighty author, Kurt Geisinger, for a super chat for $10. Thank you very much. Helps to keep the channel rolling. Thank you, Kurt. Kurt's a lovely guy. He's actually been on the show. So fantastic. Thank you so much, Kurt. I really, really appreciate it. And I need to recognize someone else. Handmade by Lorelei. Another $10 super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it. The channel appreciates it. It helps to pay the bills, and it's just lovely and incredibly generous of you. Thank you. And thank you for all the likes too, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Handmade by Lorelei. Thank you very much. So I do want to show you guys something else. While I was getting my pen check ready, I've been using this quite a bit when I film. I got this from Pen Chalet, and they sent it to me. They send me inks sometimes, usually Varenjules. And they sent me this, which was very nice. And it's made of like a chamois material. It's very soft. You see that I got a little ink on there. And that's a shame, except that's the point. That's what you do with this. There's a bit more ink on here. There you go. So it's essentially for those times, I mean, for me, especially when I'm filming and I'm looking at a nib under macro lens, and I was like, oh, I really want to clean that. So this is the thing that you can do that. You can wipe your nibs clean. So it's a very gentle way to do that. So it's very nice. It's refillable. It looks like real leather. It has a suede to it and a clip. Nice stitching. It's very nice. They sent this to me. I didn't pay for it, so I just want you to know that. Pen Chalet sent that over. I'm always transparent about these things, guys. It's very important. It's very important. It's very important, and we talk about this, me and you. Whenever I do something and I get something for free or I get something as a promo, I'm going to tell you, I'm not here to sell it to you. I really don't care if you buy another pen or not. I'm here to keep you inspired. I'm here to keep you writing, thinking about fountain pens in different ways, not buying stuff. A lot of YouTube channels are people selling you stuff constantly. I'll celebrate every purchase you make, but I really don't mind if you buy something or you don't. It's up to you. So I'm always going to tell you if somebody sends me something. You can tell if I like it or not. But, well, you actually probably can't tell if I don't like it, because if I really don't like something, you're not going to see it. And there has been some pretty crazy things that people have sent me that never made the air. Not the least of which were this company that sent me a bunch of, I don't even want to say the word, because I think I can get nicked by YouTube if I say the word. So I'm going to try to think of a way to say this without saying it. Okay. When a thing looks like a thing but is not a thing, and it's a Mont Blanc pen, a company sent me two, a Classique and a Le Petit Prince Mont Blanc, and it was a thing that looked like a thing, had all the boxes and but wasn't that thing. So you guys never got to see it. Actually kind of helped me with my pen knowledge, because it's amazing when you can see these things up close, what a fake looks like. And you can point it out between an original and a fake. And it was really good for my knowledge. So, but very shocking to me that someone would send that and expect me to like review it. What was I supposed to say? So I was very upset, and I let them know. So I see Lincoln. Hi, Lincoln. I am going to try to do a buying freeze for the rest of the year. I have enough of pens for now. Good job. Good job. Now, every time I say that, I buy another one. So I am aware of my own ironies and my own hypocrisies, and I point those out too. I think I'm harder on myself than I am anything else. I'm very self-critical. This entire channel is sort of based on that. Me obsessing over myself and things. But good for you. I'm very, very proud and happy for you. And if you decide to break that, that's fine too. I buy my own pens sometimes, and I do pay full price sometimes for them. But I always rationalize it that it's good for the channel. And I think a lot of things I've bought, I've done good things with. I see Arthur's here. Arthur, I want to show people something. I hope you don't mind, Arthur. I want to show people. You guys remember my handwriting diary? So this is my handwriting diary. And I am researching antique handwriting with this. Vintage handwriting. I find examples. I recopy them. Let me show you in case you're just joining the show and you haven't seen this before. And then I'll get to why I'm mentioning Arthur. So that shows I can write when I slow down and try. And these are some things I've copied from vintage letters. And I usually say where it's from. Here's a letter from the 1940s. And then occasionally I'm just practicing. Sometimes I do that to fill the negative space. I don't like a lot of negative space on these things. It sort of drives me mad. Okay, so this was really cool. This is all from the draft of the Declaration of Independence. I really like this 4 and these E's. So this is part of what this is. I'll show you a few more things before I get to the point, but I think you guys like this. Look at this. This right there. Look at that. Epic. But see, this is why I do it, because you discover things like that and you can use it. It's pretty great. So, okay. Here's a W kind of like my W's. You know my W's, probably. So, Benjamin Franklin's handwriting. John Paul Jones. Here's Ernest Hemingway. Oh, of course I'd have to dig into Hemingway. And I've adapted part of his signature for my signature for the channel. Okay. William Morris, of course, who features heavily here. Frederick Douglass. Incredible handwriting. This T. Have you ever seen these T's? These were really popular even mid-century. Last mid-century. Oh, you know what? Let me recognize someone. Wolf Kate Witch. Wolf Kate Witch is someone I've actually met in person. Wolf Kate Witch with a super chat for $10. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Wolf Kate Witch and I will be at the DC Pen Show. So you should join us. And I'm taking my whole family. It's going to be epic. Epic. That's in August. Thank you, Kate. This is really cool. Okay. So as you can see, I've gone really further. I've gone further than the last time I've shown you. These were from the Gardner. Remember I went to the Gardner Museum? These are ones I copied from there. So those are fun. So anytime something catches my eye, by the way, I love this. Look at that incredible slant and the elongated letters. Look at that eye. I've copied this eye. Some of you in the Illuminati and Cognoscenti members who exchange letters with me have seen me use this eye. I know you have. I just love that eye. Here's a cool D, by the way. I'm still not 100% on my D. Queen Elizabeth II. By the way, I think I'd be a decent, handwrite. I don't want to say the technical term because I'm in banking and I don't want those words ever come out of my mouth. But I could be a great handwriting impersonator if I tried. Bram Stoker, very cool. Okay, this one's really fun too. Early 20th century document. I really like the S. Had to have it. And this F, look at that. Isn't that amazing stuff? It's just amazing. All right, so and here's all your D's. You know, those of you that have sent me D's, these are me copying them in here. Here's like the Walt Disney D, and then here's the droopy D, which is nice, kind of like an L with a D, and some other ones. I've copied quite a bit of your D's. They have come through email. Leonard Bernstein. He had really good handwriting. Or maybe that was Mrs. Bernstein. It was Mrs. Bernstein. But this was from the invitation of the Radical Chic party that Tom Wolfe wrote about. And I don't know if they covered that in the movie that just came out. But okay, Arthur, I'm getting to the point. This is the point. Arthur was very nice to send me an example of French cursive on French cursive lined paper. So I cut it out and I glued it into my book. And that's how much I liked it. He did such a brilliant job. Now I want to point out a few things. This Q that looks like a 2. I've seen that in some letters and things a long time ago, like in the 1970s and 80s. That's an impressive Q. This S is pretty great. It's just great. Nice W. X, a really interesting X. Because doing X in actual cursive, not easy. And the Z, I'll admit, I've never seen a Z like this one. It's sort of an L with a line through it. Pretty impressive. So nice job, Arthur. I really appreciate it. And you've added a lot of value to my studies with your generous letter to me with that. So thank you. Thank you, Arthur. Just great job. Everyone give Arthur a hand. Thank you. So if you're watching this show and you haven't subscribed yet, why not subscribe? Then you'll know when I'm going live. And then I'll know who you are, which would be nice. And if you want to support the channel even more, consider becoming a member. We do letters exchanges for Cognoscenti and Illuminati. There's bonus videos back there, all kinds of fun stuff. Consider it. Consider it. All right. So what did you guys think of my new opening credits? Now, this is the second round of opening credits. I did the ones from before that were based on the Sherlock theme. That was last week's. If you haven't seen it, at the end, go and watch last week's show. I liked them, and I thought I did a decent job. I thought they moved a little fast, but they did convey a lot of information, which I really liked, and a lot of information about the show. For one thing, it showed where Hemingway Jones came from, which is not easy to incorporate visually. Or maybe it is easy, because it certainly didn't. It did figure it out, but it showed Hemingway, and then it showed Indiana Jones, and so that's where it came from. So easy to put that together. Now, what happened was I didn't really like the music that much. Even when I was doing it, I was like, it's kind of fun. It's a riff on the Sherlock theme. I loved Sherlock. Those first 2 seasons of Sherlock were some of the best television ever made. That show was so good. But it went off the rails after that, as Moffat often does. Stephen Moffat, who made the show. But boy, it was good for a while. So I just wasn't that comfortable. And I should give a little bit of background. The music I use for the channel, the music that's in the opening credits, that's in the videos, it all comes from the YouTube free music library. So I always keep an eye on anything new, anything that sounds interesting, anything that suits the channel. And I adapt it. I'm always looking for things that are like soft jazz or classical or really nice piano. It has to meet the mood of the channel. And the reason I use the free library is I don't want someone putting something under copyright that you find out on the internet and then hitting me with a copyright strike later. And the free music library, you're pretty safe. So that's why I use it. So the second round, I use the original music, which is called English Country Garden. And I always liked it because I feel like it sounds a bit like the Great British Bake Off theme. And it has a bit of that sort of English grandeur. And it sounds welcoming, interesting, engaging, but not intimidating. And I really like that. So I decided to re-edit it with that as the music and fresher clips, because the intro before had some really outdated clips that weren't the best quality, and I'm not sure it showed the channel for what it was. I'm not sure. Laddie, my man Lad Gardner, with the $25 super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. That is very, very kind of you. Laddie, so much support from him. We talk almost every day. He is just a lovely guy. And he made me the pen case I showed last week. Let me see if I have it handy. I do. I'm going to show it again just because I don't think he was on. And he gets so annoyed with me because my favorite part, I mean, look at this work he did. It's beautiful. Beautiful leather. Beautiful stitching. Look at that. So beautiful. And then this really cool blank. He just did such a cute job with this. I think this is going to end up with my daughter. Because it looks just like a pen. I wish I could put this on the actual Magna Carta. I really do. But so that is for this. Magna Carta's in here right now. I should probably pull this out. And you're actually giving me a nice transition here, Laddie. Because I was going to talk about this tonight, this pen. So this works out very well. So here's the actual Magna Carta. I have the really boring version. They have since come out with really nice colors. But I bought mine when black was all they had. So you can see he replicated it really well. And here's the case. And it just fits like a glove. Like it's got the cool initials. Did you see that enough? Isn't that cool? My initials. These are my actual initials, by the way. Isn't that great? And the lovely thing about Laddie, he knows I use my 3 initials. Because some people use 2. I use 3. And he put them on there. Beautiful job. Look at that. Isn't that great? Love it. Thank you. And thanks for the super chat. So he does lovely work. And I am thoroughly impressed. Thoroughly impressed. So here's the Magna Carta Mag 600. Just want you to get a good look at this bad boy. The nib. Ebonite pen. Basic converter. It's empty right now. Needs to be cleaned. It's sort of empty and I just let it sit a couple days. Look at that. Anybody want to guess what color that is? I mean, you guys know me well, right? What color do you think that is? So, ebonite feed, ebonite pen, gold soft nib, gold trim, but, you know, probably plated or whatever. Of course, I got ink all over myself because I'm rubbing things on my hand. But there you have it. By the way, I also like on this ebonite feed, it's flat. I love flat feeds. I know it's random, right? But between flat feeds and feeds with fins, this one's also flat. I like that. See, it's got some ribs, but no fins. Now, Mont Blanc has fins. Twisby has fins. I'm just not into fins. I like it flat. And I cannot lie. I like feeds flat, and I cannot lie. So, okay, what is my point with this? Boy, did I get it all over me. My point, and I do have one, is that I had somebody in the comments who is not a fan of Magna Carta. And I should mention, I bought this myself, and I paid full price. I bought it from Goulet, and I have no leverage at Goulet for any kind of discount. They have no idea who I am. So I paid full price, and I rationalized it because I knew it'd be good for the channel. And it has been. I made some great videos with it. I'm very, very pleased. Oh, you know, I forgot to tell you which ink it was. And Jim Bryan's guessing writer's blood. You are so close. It's oxblood. Oxblood. But I have writer's blood. I'm actually going to start using writer's blood. I just got a letter in it, and I really liked it. I forget who sent it. I get so many letters. I write like 10 letters a week. Usually on Sundays. I do them Sundays and Mondays, but my correspondence piles up. I try to stay up to date. It's not easy. Fins to the left, fins to the right. Is that a Jimmy Buffett song? It should be. So, my troll mentioned the Magna Carta and said that I got ripped off. You got ripped off by that pen, man. Okay. In their estimation, the pen's worth about $25. Now, that is absurd. Unless you go on like the base elements argument of evaluation, right? If you were to probably weigh what the actual gold content and the ebonite and whatnot is cost-wise, it's probably still more than $25. But of course, if you look at it on its basic components, any pen is going to be extremely inexpensive. But if you compare things fairly, okay? So this has a flexible gold nib. So if you were to go out on market and buy a gold nib, what would it set you back? At least 180, right? If you were to buy a Yovo gold nib, 180, maybe a little more. I think that's fair. Retail. Because we're trying to recreate this pen, right? So just to put a gold nib on this is somewhere around 180. Now add the fact that this is a unique gold flexible nib. What's that worth? An extra $50? Maybe. I mean, there are custom nibs out there. Schoen Design has a custom nib that's I've never used, but I hear good things. That's 400 and something. Some of the other flex pen makers put out nibs that are 3. So let's say 200. Let's be fair. Let's be generous to my critic who says that I got ripped off by this pen and it's worth nothing. $25. So, you know, we'll say $200 the fact that it's a gold nib and it's a special gold nib. And no one can deny that this is a very, very special gold nib. Now it also has an ebonite feed. Well, that's a little nicer than a normal feed, but I can't imagine feeds are that expensive. I don't know what retail price of an ebonite feed is. I don't know. But let's say $20. Could be higher, but let's say 20. Could be lower. So we're at $220. If you were going to go and buy a decent sized ebonite pen, ebonite. I love the people that call it cheap plastic. Well, cheap ebonite. So what's that? $100 for an ebonite pen? Ranga makes awesome ebonite pens. I think I spent around that. Let's be generous. Let's say $70 for ebonite pen. So, Wolf Kate Witch is saying 35. I think that's for the. Is that for the ebonite, or is that for the feed, or is that for the pen? So, William Catalano saying 18 karat gold Pelican nib units are $250. Yeah, Pelican's really nice though, right? I mean, this Magna Carta is really nice, but let's just say we're in for the nib for $200. Let's say $20 for the feed. Let's round it up. Let's say $80 for gold trim and the pen. That's $300. $300, right? Thanks, Kate. It was the feed. So $300, it's $350. Is that fair? I mean, I have criticisms of the pen. It's thirsty like no one's business. It just goes through ink. I should eyedropper this pen. It can be eyedropped. Eyedroppered? Eyedroppered. I like that, but I'm not going to say it again. Don't let me say that again. That was very awkward. Eyedropped. It could be filled with an eyedropper. It needs to be. It's a very, very thirsty pen. It's very wet. But if all these components add up to $300, how are you ripped off at $350? You know, there's R&D, there's marketing. I'm not saying that I don't wish it were cheaper. I do. But a gold flexible nib that is interesting for $350, I think is fair. Now, where there's other problems is the QC issues that people are talking about, which people I love and trust have had, although I have not had. So I can only speak from my own personal experience. And I can tell you another thing too. A bunch of my critics said that I would break mine, which I don't know why. Why did they think I would break it? I'm very gentle with things. Very, very gentle. It's fine. It's not broken. It's going strong. I've had it for how many months now? 2, 3? I'm bad with time. Do you know I'm bad with time? I rarely know when something was. Sometimes it can be years pass, and I'm kind of clueless. But I think it's a decent price. I'm not saying I don't wish it were $200. I wish every pen were free. It would be nice. Wouldn't it be nice if you went to pick up your Chinese food and there was a cup of pens for signing your receipt and they were all Magna Carta Mag 600 fountain pens? Wouldn't that be grand? That would be so cool. Instead, they're like TD Bank pens. TD Bank pens are everywhere in my market. Probably Bank of America or something where you are, maybe. I don't know. But I certainly don't think that this is unfairly priced, but I do think it's pricey, but I think it's fair for what you get. So, I also recommend, if you do want one of these, to get it from an American retailer. I just feel like if there are QC issues, and every manufacturer has QC issues, guys. I mean, that's a whole nother show, and I think we're going to do it on QC issues. Because I've mentioned this before, but Visconti. I always thought that Visconti and its nib issues were a myth. I thought it was a myth. Because what can happen in a lot of communities like ours, we have a very small community where pen enthusiasts, and we're into fountain pens. And fountain pens are a small subset of pens. So there's many more gel pen enthusiasts than there ever will be right now fountain pen enthusiasts. And that makes us really, really special. If there's an outside voice, if there's a channel on YouTube or someone in a forum that everyone listens to and they have an experience, it can affect the whole community's view of that. So sometimes it's like a wave. It's like a rumor that can go around on anything. I wondered whether or not the Visconti problem nib issue with the Homo sapiens was a result of a bad review that someone gave at the perfect time that may have gone viral in our community. That's what I thought. Or at least I considered the possibility. And I'm a data guy. So I am like, well, how can I gather some data on this? Especially as I was buying my own. My wife bought me one for Christmas. And Brendan Schmidt was lovely to check it before it was sent to her and to me for Christmas to make sure it's okay. Any reputable pen seller will do that for you. Brendan especially. Lovely guy. Pick up the phone, call him. You can get it. So here's the thing. I know a couple people who have stores or who sell pens. So I asked them. That's the best data I could get. So I asked Tom Odo. Lovely, lovely guy. We had him on the show. I think we might have talked about it on this show. But I asked him, I'm like, Tom, is this true about Visconti? He's like, oh yeah. I mean, in fact, my dad checks every one of the Visconti nibs. And I was like, wow, really? And then I asked Yost too. I did. And I got the same feedback. So sometimes you have to check out these things through data just to be sure. Because rumors and certain people's ideas. The guy in my comments who was saying I got ripped off by this pen and it's not worth any more than $25 or $30. I forget what he said exactly. He just doesn't like it. And he might not like me. So he just wants to be very contrarian. But sometimes some of these things may or may not be true. That I don't know. I wonder about TWSBI. I've heard from so many people about cracked TWSBIs. I own a bunch of TWSBIs, and I've never cracked one of mine. I've never seen it crack. They've been nothing but incredibly reliable and amazing. But people I love and know say it, so I often bring it up. I have heard this, so be careful. But I don't know. Maybe these people live in an area where the temperature changes and it does something, or there's a certain environmental thing or something on their hands. I don't know what causes it. And I don't know if it's real, but I do hear about it. I do hear about it. Terry Edginton. 7 Viscontis and only one was not sent back because of the nibs. Wow, that is a really bad hit rate. Wow. So see, I mean, and Terry, somebody I respect and have a lot of affection for. If Terry says, you can take that for granted. It's true, she says him. So that's the thing, though. It doesn't hurt you to do a little bit more investigation. By the way, did you guys see the new Diamond 580 in black? This is one of those times where I get tempted, and I usually rein myself in because I'm just like anybody else, and I love cool colors. When the Eco came out in indigo and bronze, I had to have it. It just really spoke to me. I really liked it. I grabbed it. The Diamond 580 in iris, I really wanted that. Brendan said he would send it to me, and he did, and that was really lovely. He used it for a bunch of videos, and then he sent me his demo one, which was really sweet. I still have that. But the black, there's something about the black that's really, really cool. I saw Atlas Stationers said they had it, so I was looking at it, and I was really tempted. But I decided not to, because my rule of thumb normally is you don't need another color. Even though sometimes I do fall into that trap. I picked up the bronze Kaweco Sport, even having the brass. I just bought the Kaweco Art Series, which was $125. I could have been just happy with the plastic, but that, I mean, the terrazzo, you may have seen my video on it, but the terrazzo and the material is so much nicer than the simple plastic ones. But is it $100 nicer? That's it. That's the value proposition. Now, for reasons of the channel and the fact that I could make a really compelling and beautiful video with it, which is why I did it, and hopefully I did that. I don't know if you've seen it. Did you see that one? Let me know. Let me know in the comments if you've seen it, or in the chat if you're here now. I quite liked that video. So yeah, I try to rein these things in, but I do get tempted. And I'm transitioning to our main topic, which is about value. Okay? It's often about value. This pen is a Scrivener. These pens go around $50 to $70. This pen reminds me of a Waterman when I write with it. Sometimes I forget what it is. It feels like my old Waterman from the 90s. And it brings back some nice memories of that. But at $50, a Scrivener, you could buy 14 of them for a Visconti Homo sapiens. You could buy 14. You could buy 20-something TWSBI Ecos for a Visconti Homo sapien. You could buy 20 Scriveners, and I don't know how many TWSBI Ecos for $1,000. If somebody wants to divide 1,000 by 30, that should be easy because there's one and zeros. But the point is, now you might be asking yourself, what do you do with 20 Ecos? Some of us have them. There's all these different colors. It's really, really lovely. Eric Linneman saying, you could buy 40 for an Emperor. Indeed, you could. So what do you do as you approach this, right? There are times you need to pay your dues. There are times when only a certain pen will do. I know my good buddy Laddie goes through this. I go through this all the time. I waited about, I would say, over a year I waited for the Montblanc 146 with the calligraphy nib. I waited a long time for that. And as soon as it restocked, as soon as I got the indication, I bought it because I didn't want to miss out. Now, if my pen purchase budget was $1,000 for the year, which is roughly what that pen costs, it was actually a little cheaper then. I think it was around, I think it was like in the high sevens, because I bought it from a pen company in the Netherlands. And I bought it when the dollar was super strong. So I got a really good deal. And they sold out of market, which they're not supposed to do. But, that was them. It was a very small company. Nobody that we know, that we often deal with. So, but it's a good way to get pens is to buy in a different currency when you can. If you travel, Montreal, check out the pen prices. Maybe the dollar's strong, you could end up getting something decent at the Montblanc boutique, right? So, if your budget is limited to one or two big heavy hitter pens, Maybe you shouldn't buy all the other little ones that catch your eye. The Lamy, the new Lamy color. You know there's going to be new colors this year. There's usually lovely summer colors. Kaweco's always going to have something new. TWSBI is so good at picking really cool colors, like the black one I mentioned earlier. Debbie Pogrowski says, Montreal was expensive. I was just in Quebec. I think you guys know I was in Quebec. And it was so inexpensive. I mean, the dollar was so strong. I was buying stuff with a 30% discount. I mean, even staying at the Fairmount Frontenac, it was so cheap. You know, one of their really nice premium rooms for $300 a night. So it was really, really nice. But I've never been to Montreal, so I don't know. But you know my point. You get my point. So value is one of these things. It's just such a... You can sort of bend it to whatever you need it to be. You could tear a pen like this down to its base materials and call it worthless. But that's to discount a whole lot of work on an absolutely gorgeous nib, a very comfortable ebonite pen, very pretty gold, and really a fantastic, fantastic nib that does magical things. Magical things. Few pens can do. It's hard to put a price on that. But if you are striving to get something like a Pilot Custom 823, and maybe you're saying, oh, it's so expensive, maybe consider how many TWSBIs you've bought. Did you buy 6 of them? You know, did you buy 6 $50 pens? That's your Pilot Custom 823. Is a Pilot Custom 823 worth 6 inexpensive pens? It is if you don't have one, because it's great and it's brilliant and it's such a good writer. I mean, it's really the only pen anybody needs. If you get a Pilot Custom 823, you almost don't need a Mont Blanc. So, Eric makes a good point. You show us B-roll of you writing in memorable places with your pens. That experience is more valuable than the money spent. It really is. But that's another thing. And that's a thing I talk about quite a bit. You can buy things and surround yourself with things. You can use your money to have experiences. And I think if you think of it that way, you become much richer than having things. Another thing, another pen. Pens are nice. I love pens. But a trip up in the woods of Maine with a cozy fire, looking at a lake covered with snow, full moon, stars, that experience. Or fly to Florence, walk around the Boboli Gardens. How do you put a price on that? And those kind of memories, those kind of experiences. But some pens give you experiences. This pen gives you a very unique experience. In fact, I have a lot of videos coming up with very interesting experience pens. It's like we're sort of taking it up a notch. For me, even the experience of writing with the Kaweco Art Sport, it was worth the $125 to me because of the experience. But if you think of things less as things and more as experiences, I think you become less greedy of the thing and more intrigued by and inspired by the experience. So you probably wouldn't want to add just another pen, but you probably would want to try that broad nib you've never tried before, or to feel what ebonite's like in your hand, or to feel what the hooded nib on a Parker 51 is like, or the calligraphy nib on a Lamy Safari, or so many interesting pens out there. The Peniter Quill nib, one of the most unique experiences of any fountain pen. Doesn't get enough love, but you're going to see it on this channel very soon because it's unique and it's inspiring and it's different. And that makes all the difference. All the difference. So I have to say something. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed and you've made it through 50 minutes, I think the rule is, maybe not the law, but certainly the rule, you have to subscribe. I would certainly appreciate it. So consider that. Lad says, plus you can leave a Grail pen to everyone important in your will. That's true. If you have a bunch of Grails, you know, maybe you get to the point when you're older where you're giving away your possessions and you can see people have your pens. Maybe that's a nice thing. One day. But I don't know. For me, this is going to be a year of experiences. I don't want to chase after things. But the channel is going in some interesting places. We're doing a lot with handwriting. We're doing a lot with entry-level pens. And we're going to do some with vintage pens. And we have a whole bunch of ink videos. I have an ink video I'm sitting on, you guys. I wish I could tell you. But it is so epic and so interesting that I'm not telling anyone. I'm keeping it to myself. Because we have to build. We have to build anticipation. This week's video is on Scrivener. A full review on 3 of these. I think you'll like it. Comes out Thursday at noon. So, lovely, lovely stuff. I'm really excited. I've never had so much energy or creativity when it comes to YouTube. Never. I'm looking at some of your comments. Oh, see, this is the kind of rationalization I love by Zaitlin Kozan. An 823 is a lot cheaper than a bottle of 17-year-old Japanese whiskey. Not sure which experience is better. Yeah, as long as you don't have it all in one sitting, right? But, see, that's the thing. You can trade these things. A Pilot Custom 823 costs about as much as a night in the Chateau Frontenac. It can also be a really nice dinner for 3 people. A decent dinner for 3 people where I live. Where I live, it costs $20 to go to Dunkin' Donuts. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a wonderful time that I've had with you this evening. I've had a great time. I hope you enjoyed the show. We got an excellent video coming out later in the week. Do catch it. And I'll be back next Tuesday night at 8 p.m. for another captivating and exciting episode. So thank you all for being here. Thank you to all the members. Zoom meeting for the members Sunday afternoon. So it's for Cognoscenti and Illuminati members. The Zoom meeting. You can ask me questions about anything. I'll spill the beans. So that's going to be super fun on Sunday. So I promise all of you, we're going to see each other again very, very soon, further up the road. So everyone, have a great night and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.